What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It's April or no, in May something or other for one, two, three, May 4th, and just got out of bed. I slept in today. I do notice I'm using the sleep tracker, and on the days Sunday. Um, yeah, I haven't found a church here that I like. Just putting that out there. I mean, I went to one that was all right, but I just haven't found one that I want to go to. On the not, when I was in Jamestown, I found when I was at my ex's apartment, there were two churches. One was down the street, and I'm just thinking, I hate thinking about this stuff. Anyway, there was a church down the street. It was about half a mile down the road, maybe more. Less than a mile, I guess. It wasn't that far. 10, 15 minutes to walk. But it was one of those rural churches with a big, long driveway. And, it was a nice place. Everybody in there, everybody I met there was friendly, and they were all right. It was, the neighborhood church. And, I could say good and bad about it, but I didn't go there that long. Didn't get to know the people that well, but it was okay. It was a decent place. But they all knew something was up with me. Why? Because I walked. Because I walked there. And here you're in a neighborhood. How many neighborhoods do you know where people will drive to go see their next door neighbor? Nobody walks anymore. That's not a thing anymore that people do. So when you see somebody walking, it immediately triggers people to think something's going on. What's wrong with this guy? And if you're anywhere near the town of Jamestown and someone sees you walking down the road, they look at you like there's like the neighborhood watch shit. Like this one time I was walking down the road with a backpack on on the day I became homeless. I'm not kidding. Rednecks and pickup trucks were pulling up to me and just like, "Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? What you doing today? You go out for a hike?" Like just acting friendly, but we all know what the fuck they were doing. That was their friendly hillbilly redneck way of saying, "You ain't gonna be camping on my land." Move on down to the homeless camp in Jamestown, you fucking piece of shit. That's what they were doing. And nobody walks anymore. And so I started going to that church, and people would always offer me rides home. And I would be like, it's less than half a mile. Like, I can walk. People would be like, well, I'll give you a ride. Do you need a ride? That friendly. Fine, that's friendly, but I didn't want a ride. It's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was to walk there. One time I forgot something. I think I forgot my keys, and I didn't want to get like if I came home and the door was locked, I wanted to be able to get back in. So I came back and grabbed my keys and turned around and went back, and it wasn't even that much time. It was that close. And then there was another church, a way smaller congregation, right across the street from where I lived. You could look out the front window and see the church spire. It was right there. Like, and so I looked at the times of the services, and I'm like, wait a minute, if I go to this church as I'm walking back, the other one's going to be just getting started. And it was timed. It was perfect timing. I could go to this one church in the morning, and then after the service was over, I could walk to the other church and walk in as everybody was arriving, sit down, and go to church again. So I was like, why not? Why not? What else am I doing? I just got out of prison. I don't want to be in this apartment. I want to get the hell out of here for a while and go to double church. And they were both good places. And the second one, the people were older, but it was better. I liked the second one better. I liked the people I was surrounded by, especially the more I got to know some of them. And then the second church had these Bible studies on, was it Thursday afternoon or something like that. And so, of course, it was only old people showing up, because who can go to Bible study at 1 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon if you're young and you have a job and you're working and that kind of stuff. So I got to know these people a little more. But nobody knew my situation. Nobody knew about the prison and all that stuff. Well, no, some of them did. Some of them did. Before I ended up homeless, some of them, like, everybody knew something was up. Everybody knew something was wrong with me. Number one, these are all people that grew up together, living in the same neighborhood together their entire lives, and they know everything about each other. And here's this new guy, he just pops in. How did this new guy just pop in? Especially in a little church like that, in a little tiny dinkety rinky-dink town like that, where, because I wasn't in Jamestown, I was outside of Jamestown, about 6 miles outside of town. And this little rinky-dink town, it was literally an intersection. And so everybody knew something was out of place with this guy. And I didn't have enough time to really get to know anybody and whatnot. And the ex, she didn't want me congregating at all with the people in the neighborhood because of, the rumor mill and all that kind of stuff. She's like, I don't want you getting to know all my neighbors. Because, I don't want any of these people to know that I associate with you, you fucking piece of shit, and all that. And so, I was just trying to reintegrate into society, and I'm like, what? You tell me I can't go to church? Fuck you. But those are two churches I would have continued to go to if it was possible. I liked both of them for different reasons. And I would have liked to get to know a lot of the people that I was meeting better, because I did meet some good people. Had some good conversations with some... there were good people, but when I was kicked to the curb and became homeless and all that, and I just couldn't... some of them found out because I was being asked what happened and whatnot. But, the outsider who just showed up for a month or so and then disappeared, it is what it is. And then there was a church at the homeless shelter. This really cool dude would come in on Sundays and preach. I liked him. He's a cool guy. Definitely relatable. He, as everybody else, everybody who came into that homeless shelter, like everybody who worked there or was associated with it, I got connected to all kinds of people when this was going on. And everybody was like the same thing. Everybody looked at me the same way. They're like, how the fuck did you end up homeless, dude? Like, you must have a crazy story. Because it's not the regular thing that they see. And in a town like that, I can say that during the time I was in the homeless shelter, people come and go, they come and go, they come and go. There are some people that come and go over and over and over again. Like the homeless shelter is just a regular stop where maybe they go live out in the street for a while, they come back to the shelter, go back out to the street, come back to the shelter. Like, maybe they get a place to live, maybe they get a job and start getting their life back together, and then something happens and they're back in the homeless shelter. So it's a community that knows, it's a town that everybody knows everybody kind of place. And now there's this random dude that shows up who obviously had something going on and lost that. And what the fuck happened what happened to this guy? It's like the story is very different. But like I said, I met a lot of people in that shelter, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, everybody in the homeless shelter is there because they're a drug addict or a drunk or, something like that. It's not the case. It's not the case. There's plenty of sober people there. That is a way, that is a path to homelessness. But there was a guy there who just lost a job, and he ended up getting kicked out of his apartment, and he had nowhere else to go. And he was having a hard time getting his stuff back together, and he started working again, and I don't know what happened to him, but I'm assuming that I hope that he got himself a place, got out of there. I know he was working, and he was looking for a second job. And I don't think he did drugs or drank or anything. I didn't get the impression that was the case. But I started going to that. I was walking around town and I saw a sign in front of a church that had the same logo as the church I liked to go to in Pittsburgh. It's called the Missionary Alliance. It's a network of churches, primarily in western Pennsylvania, but I guess they go up into New York, and possibly into like Ohio, and kind of, I would say Pittsburgh and the region around Pittsburgh, a certain radius around the city of Pittsburgh, you'll find these churches. The logo, if you went to the church for enough time, you'd recognize the logo when you see it in front of a church. There was one when I lived out in Amish country. There was a Missionary Alliance church right down the road, and I passed it every single time I went to the grocery store. I drove right past it, and I always thought to myself, you should go there. You should go there. And then I was dating this one girl for a brief period of time who lived like right down the road from me. And she even said, and she wasn't like that churchy. She wasn't very churchy. I don't know if she even was Christian. I don't know. Like, all I know is that she told me, she's like, oh, you should go to that. I didn't even bring it up. Like, I mentioned that I like to go to church, but I haven't really gone to church since I moved out here, and different reasons why. And she goes, you should try that church. She talked and said that church that was down the road that I'm talking about. She's like, that's a really good place. You should go there. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, maybe. You know what? If I had gone there, if I had listened to that suggestion, maybe I wouldn't be sitting in this shithole tiny dump in Houston, Texas, after having done 2 years in federal prison for mean tweets. It's like the butterfly effect I talked about previously, that butterfly flaps its wings in Venezuela, and a bomb goes off in Ukraine because of the chain reaction of events that takes place between the butterfly flapping its wings and when the bomb goes off. One thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and maybe World War II started because a butterfly flapped its wings somewhere. And so maybe going to that church, maybe that light bulb, hey, you should go to that church. What would have changed? What chain reaction would that have caused in my life if I had gone to that church because of that suggestion and thought, and like, maybe I would have had a circle of friends that would have put me in the mindset of, yeah, maybe I don't want to post crap like that on social media because I don't want these people to see what I just said. And so maybe I would have had, oh, excuse me, I got like a sneeze on deck. I'm just going to leave it in the video. Who cares? If a booger came flying out or something like that, I'd have had to cut. cut. But I'll just let the camera roll. Um, but yeah, I just want some, anyway, church. So in Jamestown, I found that church that had that logo on the front. And so I'm like, that to me, that was like a signal. Go check that place out on Sunday. And I went there, and immediately everybody in the place was like it was a small congregation, but everybody was super welcoming and super. I think the fact that I dressed, I had nice jeans on and a nice shirt on. I didn't look, I didn't look scrubby. I was probably clean shaven. I looked presentable. But the fact that I walked in carrying a laptop bag around my shoulder, and this bag was heavy. This bag had a lot of stuff in it all the time because when you left the homeless shelter, you couldn't come back. Sundays you could. But I tried doing that once and it didn't work out for me. Um, the so I carried this bag on my shoulder, heavy, and I would just walk into church and I would set it in front of me. But this bag is like boom, and everybody in the place could be. The homeless population is so large in Jamestown that everybody in town is tuned in to sniff you out. There's because everywhere you go, it's crazy. The amount of homeless people versus regular people is way disproportionate in Jamestown than it is in any other city. I'm in Houston. There's homeless people all over the place. You don't notice it. It's not known for that. It's not something that people pay much attention to because it's a big city. Every big city has this. Jamestown, it's the biggest thing going on in town is the homeless camp. It's like, and the homeless people everywhere, and they're homeless because there's no homes. Straight up, you're surrounded by a bunch of condemned buildings that are falling down, and when you look for rentals, I looked for rentals over and over again. They would tell me you got to find 5 rental units per week and report back to us that you reached out to them, that like you have to try and find a place. Social services did. I found 3 and I'm like, there's no more. And then finally they had me come in for an appointment to talk in person. And I told them, I'm like, it's like I'm collecting Pokemon and I found all of them. Here are the 6 places that are for rent in Jamestown. They're like, yeah, we know. They changed their tune. They're just like, just keep trying, man. We know that this place sucks. We know there's nothing here. In the whole area of Jamestown, you'll find maybe 4 places to rent at any given time. 4 apartments in the whole place, in the whole county. And you've got thousands of homeless people wandering the streets because there's literally nowhere for them to live. I mean, if it were me, if I had all the freedom in the world, I would have just said, fuck it, I'm going to walk to Buffalo. I'll walk to Buffalo, find a homeless shelter in Buffalo, and try to find a job in a place there, because you might have a better chance. There were places to rent all over the city of Buffalo that were pretty affordable. That would have been an option, but the probation department played a bigger role in what I did and didn't do and could do, and all that. I felt like they were purposely holding me down, and you know what I mean, like this whole like, you threatened a government official, so we're just going to enact our revenge on you for the rest of our lives. We're going to... You know how, like, a killer, somebody who kills human beings will be treated pretty bad by the cops and by whatever, but if you kill a cop, if you're a cop killer, they are going to completely... Like, they'll probably kill you in prison. they'll probably turn off the cameras that are watching, and the cops will from the precinct will all show up and beat you to death. And then magically the camera turns back on when your dead body's laying there. And nobody knows how it happened. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. So I keep thinking sometimes that you threatened a federal official, so you're going to pay for this for the rest of your life, and that they're just going to enact their revenge. And so, like, well, let him be homeless. Let this guy wander the streets of Jamestown, New York for 5 months. Fuck it. Fuck him. But I found a good church in Jamestown, and I enjoyed going there, and I went there pretty much every week. I might have skipped it once, or maybe, I don't remember. If I did, I had a good reason to. But I always looked forward to going there, and I enjoyed going there. When I came to Houston, I haven't found a church that I like. I went to one of these mega churches, but it wasn't like a ultra mega church. But there's a lot of these in this rich area of Houston. There's a lot of, like, I would call it, you've got like regular churches, then you've got mega churches, then you've got ultra mega churches, then you've got super ultra mega church. The super ultra mega church would be like Joel Osteen or in that ilk. The church that holds 40,000 spectators in a fucking stadium, a Jesus stadium, you know what I mean? An ultra mega church would be a big church, but not that big, and not on national TV, but bigger than any church you've ever gone to. And then a mega church would be just a big church that's, there to gobble up people's money and make a big giant production, but the congregation's the size of a regular church, but the production, the amount of money that they put into the theatrics and the production value and all that is kind of disproportionate to the number of people there. I'd call that a mega church. And then you got like regular church when you go, and it's like, oh, it's like a regular church, huh? It's like a church I'm used to going to. And so here, I've been to 3 different churches, so 3. It's not like I've sampled the buffet. But I went to a mega church that had a regular sized congregation, but it was like going to a freaking rock concert with the lighting and the stage and the whole, like they probably had just as many people in the crew, the stage crew and the production crew, as if you went to see Motley Crue. I'm telling you, man, it was crazy. Giant cameras on, like, I'm telling you, it was like going to a Hollywood production. And it just kind of, I was like, it didn't feel right. It was like, how much money, how many millions of dollars does it take to produce this church? Like, all the donations that people drop on this church are going to the new television camera that they just bought, and the gimbal and the tripod and the track and the I can't remember what you call it when it's a camera tripod on a track. It's almost like a toy train track, and so that the camera can pan, and so you can walk back and forth with the camera, but it's on a track, and so it'll be smooth motion. And then it has a gimbal so that you can it stabilizes the image video. Basically, it's, like a $200,000 camera. And it's like, I remember going to that church, and I'm just looking around, and I'm adding up I'm literally like running a tally through my head. I'm like, all of those lights cost about $2,000 each, and there's about 20 of those, and then there's the stage, and then the band, and all that stuff, and then there's like 6 of these television production cameras, and each one of those, and that rig probably cost $200,000 alone, and then that camera is about a $50,000 camera, and that's about a $30,000 camera, and then all these big fat cables going everywhere, and all the scaffolding up there, and all the lights. Oh my God, there's like 10 10 rows of scaffolding with lights and all that stuff, and each one of those lights is at least $200-300 there, and all the cabling, there's like probably 20 miles of cabling going around this place. And I followed all the cables back to the control board. I'm like, look at that control board, my god, it's like the size of Dr. Dre. Doesn't even have a control board that big in his studio, his recording studio. Watch the videos of when Eminem was recording his album in Dr. Dre's studio at his house. And like, Dr. Dre don't even have as much shit in his studio as that control board back there. Look how big it goes all the way across the church. And there's like 8 people sitting there controlling all this shit. And I'm just like, I'm adding it all up, and I'm like, my god, I'm at like $3 million. Just for the fucking production and the stage and the lights and the cables and the cameras and the speak. Oh, what about the speakers? Oh my god, there's like 25 giant speakers here and a pile of amps. And like, do you really need $2 million worth of AV equipment to have church for a couple hundred people? There you go. A couple hundred people that live in the fucking Woodlands, the richest people in Houston, all get together and buy themselves a mega church. 200 people in the congregation and $2 million worth of audio-visual equipment to broadcast on YouTube. And when I checked the YouTube channel on Sunday during the live service, there's like 25 people watching. I'm like, this just doesn't, I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't right. I don't feel comfortable here. Something's not right. So the math does not add up. How much good are they doing in the community with the money that they get from the congregation when they're dropping $2 to $3 million on camera toys and fucking speakers and lights and a stage and all this crazy shit just to make MTV Church for the Kids? I don't get it. I don't get it. And I was turned off and I couldn't go. And then I went to this other church, the Boxmart Church. I told you about that. I spent a whole video talking about Boxmart Church. And that was a fucking weird one too. That was even weirder. It was another ultra production church. I don't know if it was like, it wasn't, I guess it was a mega church in a Boxmart, but it was a room, but all the stuff, all the fixtures were permanent. So it had just as much lighting, and the back wall of the church was a row of giant TV screens, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screens going across. And the whole place was wired with speakers and lights and sound and everything else, but it wasn't at the level of the mega church in the Woodlands. But the whole sermon was, give me your money, give me your money. If you don't give enough money to the church, you're not right with God. We need money. You need to give us money. You need to give us money. Amen. And I'm like, what the fuck did I just walk into, man? This is crazy. And then I walk outside and there's a brand new, CR6 Corvette parked in a handicap spot right in front of the front door of the church. And I'm like, well, now I know why the pastor needs us to give him money. Because we all know if a brand new Corvette's parked in the handicap spot right in front of the church door out front, guess whose Corvette that belongs to? It's not a handicapped guy's Corvette. That's the fucking pastor. That's like, because the pastor didn't want to put up a sign that said reserved for the pastor. So he put up a handicap sign, and that's just where he parks, because, we don't want any retards coming to church here. Imagine if a handicapped person actually parked in that space and and then the pastor gets there and his parking spot's gone. He's going to throw a fucking fit. Who the fuck just parked in my spot? Somebody comes limping out in a wheelchair. It with me, I'm sorry. Get the fuck out of here. You fucking retard. That church was no good. That's all I'm saying. When I went to church that day, right across the street. I'm telling you, if ever there was can't even keep a straight face. If ever there was a sign from God to not go to this church, there were two churches right next to each other, and I'd already made up my mind to try out Boxmart Church. I'm like, I gotta see what this is. Right across the street, right across the street, there was a literal dumpster fire. I saw the black smoke and the fire trucks, and I'm like, what the hell's going on over? Oh my God, it's a dumpster fire. An actual dumpster fire. And I shot a little video clip of it and put it with the video that day. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, of course, I already thought to myself, is that some sort of sign from Jesus that I'm not supposed to go to this church today? Well, I'm going to go anyway. I've made up my mind. I'm going to Boxmart Church today. I got to see this. And it truly was a dumpster fire. I mean, a dumpster fire was the best way. Like, Jesus has a sense of humor. I'm not kidding, man. That's why comedy is so good for your soul. You know, if you go and you see a good, that's why stand-up comedians tell you more truth than the news. You could watch all the news channels and all the coverage on every major news channel in America every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then you can go see a stand-up comedian for an hour. You're going to get more truth from the stand-up comedian than you're going to get watching the news for 6 months. So God has a sense of humor. He definitely has a sense of humor. And he put a dumpster fire right in front of me on my way to Dumpster Fire Church, just to let me know, hey, Adam, just want you to know you're walking into a dumpster fire today. Keep that in mind as you sit through the service. So yeah, I've never been back to that one. That was a weird one. Holy shit. That was definitely one of the strangest, weirdest churches. I've been to a lot of churches. That one's first place in terms of, wow, this is fucked up. It is the number one most fucked up church I've ever seen. And I've seen some other ones. I could talk about this all day because I've been to a lot of churches. I've seen a lot of crazy shit in church, but this one was wow. So the next time I went to church, I went to this Lutheran church right next door to it, and it was like a normal church. It was a normal church. It was a little bit big, but it was what it was like. I went in there and I'm like, this is a little bit. It's not really my cup of tea, and I was kind of like, It was kind of like meh. The rating on a scale of 1 to 5, it was like a 3-star. It was meh. Nothing great, nothing bad, but nothing great. It was just kind of in the middle. And it's the kind of place that I felt like I could go back again. And maybe I go there a few times before I make up my mind about whether I would go here again or not. But I haven't been there again. One thing leads to another, and I need to do bicycle maintenance, or I need to relax, or I need to sleep in. And Sundays just, I hate this, but out in the world, Sunday becomes the day that you get, it's everybody's weekend day, that, it's your day off from work, and you're like, I want to go do things. I want to get the house cleaned. You want to do all these different things on Sunday. And how many people just don't make it to church because the world and their life gets in the way. And so I do want to, but right now, because of this landlord situation and everything, I'm like, I don't want to keep going to some church and then move in a month. And I'm like, today was literally like, I need to sleep in today. The events of this week, oh my God, I wish I could talk about what might have happened this week. I will definitely tell you guys the story, but the story hasn't ended. And like I said, I think it's serious enough that I can't go around and say things because it's very serious. If it turned out to be true, it would be like, wow, like, holy crap. Like, somebody lost, I'll say this, somebody lost their life. And there's a strange connection going on. A strange coincidence that just, I'm like, is that? No. No. No way. Every single person, every single person I have told all the details to agrees with me and has said that would freak them out if they knew what I knew, and they would have done the same thing. And they're like, if you don't tell anybody, as in if you see something, say something, then that's on you. You absolutely need to say something. That's just way too strange and way too coincidental to leave it alone. And to, so I was like, there's a whole story to tell. And I want to tell it so bad, but I gotta wait. I'll wait until I'm in my own. I'll wait until I'm in a new place to live, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'll share it when I'm in a new place to live, because everybody, like, it's too much. I don't even think it's a 50-50 chance that my hunch is true on this situation. But if it is, everybody I've told, every single person, I'm thinking, like, at work yesterday, one, two, three, four, five people heard the story. And then there's one, two, there's like 10 people that know all the details of the story I'm not telling you. And every single one of them are like, dude, that's crazy. Holy shit. Are you kidding me? The coincidence is it's too good. It's all 10 people have told me that they would be freaked out by it. And they would believe what I believe. Every single one. Like, nobody has told me I'm jumping to conclusions on this. That the coincidences are too. And like I said, this is about somebody who got killed. And there's something that I know, and it's like, oh my God. And everybody's like, you can't just keep that bottle. You can't just keep that to yourself, Adam. You need to make sure the right people know what you know. And but it may not, one might not have anything to do with the other. I did my part. If it turns out that it's true, wow. If it turns out it's not, then okay, no harm, no foul. Nothing bad is gonna happen to anybody that doesn't deserve it. So I took care of the situation. I did what I had to do. Um, Not a single person out of all 10 people that know the details have said anything other than, you can't keep this to yourself. You have to tell somebody. You have to tell somebody. Because it's too much. Somebody else even has. I can't say anymore. Oh my God, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. I don't even want to laugh because it's like, it's not even funny. But all right, I'm done laughing now. But I didn't want to. It's actually a pretty serious thing. Um, but the phone died. The battery died on the phone. That's why the video cut out for a second, and that's why you're seeing a chop in the middle of the video segment. But I'm all over the place right now. I'm going to look at a place today. I talked about a cool apartment So this is cool. This is kind of a, these are like, I don't, nothing's real until it's real. But somebody sent me a link to an apartment to check out, and it just had this like, wow, that's really cool kind of a vibe. And it's in my neighborhood. It's in the neighborhood where I live here, close to it somewhere. But it was listed as being on a certain road, and I'm like, and then it's a it's a two-story garage, completely furnished and turned into an apartment, but it retains the garage doors, and there's two garage door openers. So like you could just go and open up the bays and all of a sudden have like an outdoor patio. You know what I mean? Like in a driveway kind of a thing. I don't know how often. I don't know if I would ever do that. But having a garage door like that to come in and out of would be cool in the sense that um, you could like just for the bicycling, you know, if I put the garage door opener in my backpack or on my backpack, um, if I put that on, something's going on with my camera that's got me weirded out. But anyway, if I put the garage door opener on my backpack strap, I could just be like, as I come home. That would be kind of cool. I mean, that would be kind of a pain in the ass, but either way, I could, instead of carrying a key, I could just beep. I could find a way. What would what would be really cool is if you could hook a garage door opener up to a phone app. And since my phone is mounted to my handlebars, I could just pull up the app and be like, open garage door or something stupid like that. Anyway, it's a big open space. I'm talking like you could, from the pictures and from my guesstimation of space, you could put a pool table in there and a ping pong table and a foosball table in there and a bunch of couches and a big screen TV. Like you could make that place a man palace, the first floor, with a bicycle shop over on the side, with a permanent work stand and a workbench and a stool. Like you could turn this place into an ultra man pad. It's a garage apartment. And then it's got a second floor. It's telling me my device is too hot. Oh, this phone acts weird sometimes. There's just nothing I can do. And then it's got a second floor with a carpeted, big open space, carpeted. It's got two bathrooms, one on the first floor with a full shower, sink, toilet, real bathroom with a door you can shut. It's got a kitchen area in the main open space, big, it looks like a normal size fridge, oven, sink, all the things that you'd expect. And then upstairs, it's got a small bathroom with a toilet and a sink and a vanity and all that. And how I would set the place up, I have no idea. Would I put an office upstairs and live downstairs? Would I put the bedroom upstairs and have my office down? I don't know how I would set it up. I don't know what I would do. In fact, none of the furniture and none of the stuff I have to bring into it matches the space at all. It would look like it would be weird. I'm telling you, it would be weird. It would be the kind of thing that I would have to figure out how to fill it with furniture. Like it would have to have furniture and it would have to evolve into something cool. At which point, eventually I'm obviously not going to want to live in a garage apartment for a long time, but it would allow me to accumulate some pieces of furniture and whatnot so that when I do find a place that's suitable for my son to live in or come visit me in, that's my goal ultimately, that I could have some furniture and it would look like a normal place. But I also got to try and get a car and some other stuff. It's just, I don't know. I could get a real desk. It's just, I don't know. It's I don't know. That's the way it is. I might have to order all the furniture on Amazon and just have it all delivered so I don't have to go drive around because I don't have a vehicle to drive around in. I don't know. Everything's a big I don't know. Um, but I'm supposed to go look at it at 2 o'clock, and it is quarter to 12. So I've got a few minutes to chill. I'm gonna shave up. I'm gonna make myself look presentable to do this. Take a shower and all that. Um, so I talked about the church. Can't find. Haven't found a church I like here. Um, and there was another comment. I'll talk about this. There may have been something I was supposed to talk about, and I went off on some tangent and forgot to come back around full circle. But there was a comment that there's a bunch of comments across several videos basically telling me to shut the fuck up and just deal with the fact that you don't have a shower. I lived without a shower for however long. You can do it too. Uh, you can get yourself a camp shower and leave it out in the sun all day and then bring it inside and take a hot shower. Like all these different suggestions and like shut up. You don't need a shower to survive and all this and that and the other thing. And just like all these random comments about shut the fuck up and stop complaining about not having a shower and hot water. And I'm just going to point out, because somebody left a comment today that made me laugh. Because it was so accurate. It's hilarious. Because every now and then when the trolls leave these fucking comments, other people pop in and smack them down. I don't even have to do it myself. Which is a sign that the channel is growing and becoming a better place. Because, whenever you've got fans that smack down the trolls before you even get a chance to do it yourself, it's funny. It cracks me up. And this one did too. But anyway, I'm going to make the point that I'm not complaining about the lack of hot water and a lack of a shower because I don't know how to deal with the situation. I can go live out in the fucking wilderness for a month out of a backpack and figure out how to keep myself clean. That's not the point. If this were my off-grid homestead and I didn't have hot water yet, then you could all tell me to shut up and stop complaining. Go get yourself a hot water heater. Go get yourself some electricity. Go get yourself some propane. Go figure it out, asshole. If that were the case, you could say that and be perfectly accurate in saying that. There's more than one way to do it. If this was my off-grid homestead that I bought myself, and I bought it knowing that I don't have water and don't have hookups and don't have access and don't have electricity, and I'm starting with a bare patch of ground and building it up. Or let's say I bought an RV and I parked it somewhere and I don't have any way to hook up hot water or whatever. Or I bought an RV and the hot water system doesn't work and I've got to save up to fix it. Or I bought a house and the hot water tank is busted or the water heater doesn't work. Then yes, I'll have to figure out how to live without hot water. And instead of complaining about it, you would probably hear me talking about how I'm going to go about fixing it. All right, this phone's driving me crazy right now, but whatever, it is what it is. It's just bugging out. It just randomly shut off. Well, didn't turn off the phone, but the camera app just went blank. And so you got another, I don't know if you can hear the background noise. Listen. It's just so fucking loud here. A lot of the noise doesn't pick up on the microphone, the background noise. There's a lot of like when I was in Jamestown and doing the homeless videos, and there would be all this crazy noise in the background, and everybody would be like, "It's not that bad, Adam. It's not as bad as you." No, it actually was that bad. It was horrid. But a condenser microphone won't pick up background noise as much as another. I forget the other name of a microphone that picks up the background noise. Cardioid mic. Or is that a? I don't know. There's different kinds of microphones for different purposes, and a condenser mic that you use for, like, a stage microphone is a condenser mic, and that really, a stage microphone won't pick up any background noise. It really, you have to be about 3 inches from the mic. That's why singers have the microphone right up to their mouth, because if you're like 3 feet away from the microphone, you won't pick up any noise. They're designed to only pick up noise that's right next to the microphone, because on a stage there's so much background noise going on that the microphone would pick up feedback and it would be a hot mess. So the microphone on your phone is like that. It doesn't pick up the background noise, so that if you're in a loud place trying to have a conversation with somebody, it reduces the background noise so that your voice carries through. So when you do hear background noise, keep in mind the background noise is 20 times louder than what you might hear in this video, because of the fact that the microphone's designed to squelch that down. And so anyway, we're talking about the hot shower. And I just went on a thing and I said, if it was my hot shower that didn't work, whether it's my homestead and I don't have access and I don't have hot water yet, or because I have an RV and the water doesn't work and I have to fix it myself because it's mine, or I'm living out of a vehicle and I got to figure out how to take showers while I'm living out of a car, or maybe I bought a house and the hot water stopped working or never worked in the first place and I've got to save up money to buy a water tank or have a plumber come fix it. All those different scenarios would make sense for the trolls to show up and say, "Stop bitching about not having hot water, you fucking asshole. I haven't had hot water in 6 years. You can live without it. Just soak your dishes in the water." And it's like, I've been camping my whole fucking life. I know how to wash dishes with water out of a fucking creek. I don't need, if give me a bucket and some water, I'll wash my dishes. That's not, I'm telling you the situation, because I'm paying rent to live in an apartment in Texas. And not only am I paying for the hot water to be working month after month, by law in Texas, the landlord is required to provide you with hot water for your apartment. And if he doesn't, it's considered uninhabitable. So I'm paying for the hot water. I'm paying to have it month after month after month after month. I'm paying for that, and he's not providing it, and he's stalling, and he's taken 3 months to fix the hot water. It is fixed now. I just turned on the hot water and washed my hands a few minutes ago. The water's hot. I washed out my coffee mug. In fact, got myself some delicious cold brew because I washed out my coffee mug and with hot water. I have it now. I've said that on a few videos, but you haven't seen those videos yet because of the time delay that I'm putting in them. But anyway, all these different trolls are either telling me to shut the fuck up and suck it up and deal with the fact that you don't have hot water. And for several weeks, I didn't have shower at all. No water would run out when you turn on the shower. And people were saying, "Well, what the fuck are you complaining about? Go get yourself a camping shower," and all that. Those are all great suggestions if this was my fucking problem to deal with. This isn't my problem. This is the landlord's problem to fix. Could I have hired a contractor to come and fix it myself and taken the money out of the rent, yes, I absolutely could have done that legally. And I could, I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That was my legal option to do. I could do that. Um, no problem at all there. But he kept telling me, "Oh, I've got a crew to come next week," and now there's a Formula One race going on right outside the house. I might go watch. I don't know if you could hear that. This is what I hear. This is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here. Um, Literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is what I listen to. Sirens included. I can't even. Oh my god, it's driving me crazy. That is driving me insane, and it gets worse. It's way worse now than when I moved in. Um. Uh. I can't even. Oh my god, it's so crazy. This place is. I'm going to look at a place at 2. And so I was talking about that. I'm all over the place. Please bear with me. You're seeing the results of. I just shared a video, a really long video about synchronicity and how all this lines up with everything that happened in Jamestown. And it's kind of. I think God is just using this situation to teach me something that. I made a mistake that cost me my life. Literally. Everything is destroyed in my life, and it probably always will be. And there are plenty of people who will just say, well, you did it yourself. You made your own bed, lie in it. You fucked up. It's all your fault. Nobody else is to blame but you. And that's not true. It's not true. And I went into great detail about how that's not true. And God wants me to realize that that's not true, because I'm beating myself up over it. Don't get me wrong. Many times I've prayed and I'm like, I did all this myself. All these problems are my own making, etc., etc. And to an extent that's true, but no, it's not 100% true. There are a lot of people that contributed to my situation that I'm in right now. And I could name 50 of them. And all of those contributions have added up to my current circumstance. So, no, it isn't all my fault. That's what God wants me to see, that it's not all my fault. And the way He's showing me is that the situation with the landlord is drove me off a cliff mentally. Like, I'm literally batshit crazy right now. And I'm trying to, come back from that. And it's wow, it's affected everything. And I'm limping. I can't sit down and concentrate on doing any work in front of a computer right now. And when I was homeless, I could. When I was homeless, I could do that all day and I could focus. Right now, I can't focus at all. It's way worse mentally than it was. My mental state is 100 times worse right now than when I was homeless. Homeless was better than this. And so God's telling me, He's like, look at what this would have done to your ex. Look at how dealing with 2 piece of shit slumlord creep scumbag landlords trying to ruin your life simultaneously while you were in prison. Do you think that might have had an effect on someone's mental state? And was all 3 of those things your fault? No, one of them was. You went to prison for what you did, and even that wasn't 100% your fault. Because how many people threatened the life? I just saw 3 stories today about people that threatened Donald Trump's life on Twitter, and they didn't even fucking lose their job yet, let alone have the FBI drive into their house with a fucking tank. So, but they did that to me. And so, no, it wasn't 100% my fault. Not 100%. And, but the other two things, the two landlords, I had nothing to fucking do with that. Nothing to do with that. That was two scumbag pieces of shit that wanted to ruin someone's life. And had nothing to do with me. But all of those things combined made someone go batshit crazy. I'm going batshit crazy dealing with one scumbag slumlord. Granted, there's other things compounding the situation. The fact that I was homeless and the fact that I'm being bounced around and having to move 5 times in a year and, just being bounced around and unable to find a job, applied to 600 jobs and can't even find one or found one. But that's not even 100% true because of freelance and other things, but, dealing with probation and just the nonstop constant stress and attacks and from every angle for over a year, this landlord pushed me over the edge and now I'm officially batshit crazy. At least for now, until I can find a place to live and then I can start to put my mind back together and put life back together again. 5 times in a fucking year having to move. Look at me. I'm already like, it's just talking about it is enough to make me want to beat somebody verbally. And, not really, but, I got to put that disclaimer out there. I'm just trying to make a point. So, yeah, anybody would go batshit crazy under those circumstances, and that's what God's trying to show me. He's like, look, dude, he's like, you can't even blame her for throwing you out in the street to be homeless. It's not even her fault. Like, she didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't in the right frame of mind when you came home from prison. At all. Having to go through all that bullshit on top of the bullshit that you were going through, that she was experiencing, that she had nothing to do with. All of that combined finally pushed her over the edge, and you got to see the result of that. And this is what God's trying to show me. He's like, look, you just need to understand there's plenty of blame to go around for everything that happened to everybody. And there were things going on that were more complicated than just you and her. And, even without me being in prison, if both of those things happened at the same time, I might have been dealing with a batshit crazy girlfriend. If two things like that were happening simultaneously and the prison thing had never happened, that would have been hard to deal with. Like, because something like that, you threaten someone's livelihood and you threaten someone's home and having a roof over their head. And if you threaten someone's livelihood and you threaten someone's survival, what do you need to survive? Food, shelter, water. Those are the 3 things you need to survive. If you threaten those things, how crazy do you think people would get if there's no more food? If the grocery stores ran out of food, how long would it take before the whole neighborhood goes batshit crazy, like that movie, The Purge? But it would be The Purge every day. It wouldn't be one day a year where you can go around killing people and doing what you want. It would be like every day you can run around killing people doing what you want because you're trying to get the food. Like, so you threaten someone's shelter and you threaten someone's livelihood, you are going to turn that person into a fucking nut job. You're going to turn that person into a fucking batshit crazy lunatic, because that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. You threaten my shelter and you threaten my survival and you threaten and you fuck up my livelihood, and now you gone done fucked around and you might find out. Because after I get out of here, I've got to make some choices on what I'm going to do about the situation that are within my legal rights to do. And it really boils down to 2 things. Is it worth the stress and hassle that it will add to my life? Or do I just move on and walk away? Or am I supposed to do something so that this guy will fucking think twice before he tries to rip somebody off again? But you know, does a career criminal ever think twice about committing a crime again? So we had this conversation at work yesterday, and it's the same thing. Like, everybody's like, yeah, it's hard to know which way to go on that one, isn't it? I'm like, it is. You don't There's pros and cons to each side of it. Some people think I should push it all the way and take him to task. Some people are like, it might be better to just walk away and take that stress out of your life. And I'm like, yeah. You know, who wins when you go to court? Does the plaintiff win? Does the defendant win? No, that neither one of them win. The lawyer wins. The lawyers win. That's who wins when you go to court. So, I'm going to look at a place at 2 o'clock. The place was shown to me. I looked it up. It was on Facebook. I reached out. I never heard back. And then the ad disappeared. And I'm like, oh, someone snatched it up. Oh, well. A little bit later, it popped back up on Facebook, but under a new name with different pictures, but it was the same place. And I'm like, what? And that's kind of strange. That's a little bit of a red flag. So I reached out to it. It was a brand new ad. I reached out and expressed my interest. I got a response back with a phone number. I reached out to the phone number and I asked for the address. And turns out the place is like 3 blocks away from me right now. It's like 3 blocks away. And I've ridden my bike right past it. Not right in front of the house, but at an intersection where the house is like 2 houses away from... I was 2 houses away from it on a bike ride recently. And I know the neighborhood, and it's nice. So where I live right now, on this crazy road, and this place sucks. This house sucks. This whole street sucks. But if you go behind the house that I live in, the neighborhood is actually really nice. It's like these are the front row houses in a nice neighborhood. But the street that these houses are on is fucking horrible. It's noisy, it's loud, it's obnoxious. It's 4 lanes, it's 2 lanes in each direction. You've got people driving by right in front of your house going 75 miles an hour. You got constant sirens. It's a main road, and it sucks to live on it. But if you go 2 blocks behind me, it's quiet, dead quiet. And it's a nice suburban, it's like a suburban cul-de-sac neighborhood. It's a little bit older. It's not of the McMansion era. It's probably a little bit, it's hard to explain. It's newer than, it's not 70s. It's probably like early 90s. I'm just like guessing. But it's probably like a late 80s, early 90s development when they were moving away from building real houses and building particle board and cardboard McMansions. It's kind of like that in-between phase right there, and that's what these look like to me. But it's a nice neighborhood. It's quiet. It's tucked back. I know exactly where this place is, and I'm going to walk to it today. I'm going to just put on a pair of pants and some shoes. I don't have to go on a 60-mile bicycle ride to go look at a place to live. It's right there. It's right there. Right behind me. 3 blocks away. I'll be able to walk there I'll be able to put on my pants and my shoes and walk there in 5 minutes. Maybe 10. Maybe 15. I don't know. It's less than a mile away. Less than a mile. And I thought that was ironic. And out of all the places that are currently on my list, this one stands out. It's expensive, but all the utilities are included. And I don't know about the internet, but I'll bring my own. I know that my hotspot will work there. And I know that there will be other options for internet. But I will have questions for the landlord, for the owner, if can I have internet directly hooked up, like a cable modem or a fiber optic or whatever is available? Can I have it a line directly put into the place without a problem. I'll test the speed of the internet when I'm there on my phone, which will give me a good idea of how my T-Mobile hotspot will work in that place. Maybe it'll be faster. Maybe it'll work better there. Um, and laundry. What about laundry? Because I didn't see any hookups for laundry, and I didn't see any, like, how do I do laundry? Do I got to go to a fucking laundromat? Because that's 2 miles away. And the walk to the laundromat would be an absolute nightmare, and the bike ride would be even worse because of how you would have to go to get there. So that's a big deal. Laundry, having to wash your clothes, that's a big time suck. That takes a lot of time out of your week if you have to go somewhere and do your laundry, especially if you don't have a car. If I had a car, I could deal. Having a car would make that more bearable. But not having a car, that's a nightmare. That's a whole day of your life just to have clean clothes. Every week. A whole day out of your day. A whole day out of your life once a week, an entire day just to have clothes. You know, like, that adds up. That adds up to a significant amount of hassle when you have to lose an entire day of your life just to wash some clothes. I mean, that's like going back to the old days where, you know, the woman would have to put all the clothes in the basket and walk down to the river, go for a 3-mile walk down to the riverbank and wash all of her husband's clothes and lay them out in the sun to dry and or whatever, and throw them back in the basket and carry the basket back to town. You know, she leaves at like 4 a.m. to make it down to the riverbank before all the other housewives are down at the riverbank doing their laundry. And then, you know, by the time she gets home, it's like 5 p.m, and then she gets all the clothes folded and put away, and now she's got to cook dinner before her husband comes home. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even the wife. I gotta do all that shit for myself. So yeah, like I don't want to go back 6,000 years in time to have to do laundry like that. I would like to be able to wash my clothes and not lose a day of my life to do it. Especially if I'm going to pay as much as this place is going to cost. It's a significantly higher expense than what I'm paying right now. But when you factor in the fact that my douchebag slumlord wants to raise the rent by $200, then it's not as much of a hit financially, but it's significant enough that I would be terrified for the first 3 months until I get into the rhythm of paying the bills. But in terms of Houston, it's not that bad. It's up there, but it's not that bad. And the benefits might outweigh. I already know that when I'm in a good place, when I live in a place that's comfortable and peaceful and tranquil, I make more money as a result of that, because the state of mind that the peace of mind that I get from my surroundings helps me focus on what I need to do to get paid. So here in this tiny nightmare, this giant nightmare in a tiny house, I don't have the ability to do what I have to do to get paid anymore. I'm just limping to the finish line right now because it's all of it combined. The hot water situation for 3 months, the noise of the traffic outside, the fact that my toilet and my sink are right. I don't have a kitchen. I have to wash dishes right next to the toilet and a bathroom sink. Like, all of these things combined, all of it combined, the landlord threats, all of the things combined have all finally combined into a point that's unlivable and unacceptable. And so I just went on a 20-minute thing about how people were saying, stop bitching about how you don't have hot water and just live with it. And I just said, you know, the landlord, that's his I'm paying to have that. I'm paying to have that. This isn't like me that I own a house and it's broke, or I started a homestead, I put an Amish cabin on a blank piece of land and I don't have electricity. I shit in a bucket. I took a 5-gallon bucket outside, I take a shit in it, and I dig a hole and I bury my shit in the ground. Like all the different things that you would do if you were just camping in a cabin out in the woods and you don't have anything hooked up and you don't know what to do just yet. And it's all on you to fix. I bought an RV, it doesn't work, the hot water broke and I have to take cold showers, or I may not have water at all. Who knows? Whatever the case may be, those would all be my responsibility to fix. This is a situation where I'm paying rent. I'm paying rent and I'm supposed to have hot water. Legally, I'm supposed to have hot water. The state of Texas requires landlords to provide hot water in a rental unit. That's a requirement. That's law. You could take them to court just for that reason alone. And so somebody chimed in the comment section to back me up, saying, imagine that you go to the gas station and you give the clerk $20, and then you go out to the gas pump and there's no gas. There's no gas in your car. And you go to start your car and your car doesn't start because no gas went into your car. They robbed you. They basically took your money and didn't give you the gas that you paid for. And then everybody's suggestion on how to deal with that is, well, you can push your car. You can just push your car to get home. Stop bitching about not having any gas and just push your car. You can get home in an hour or two if you just push your car down the road. Stop bitching about it. Go get gas somewhere else. Push your car to another gas station. That's not the fucking point. The point is she paid for the gas and she didn't get the gasoline that she paid for, and now she can't drive anywhere because her gas tank is empty, but she paid for the gas. Or maybe even worse, they put water in the gas tank instead of gas. She gave him $50 to fill her gas tank, and now she's got a gas tank full of water, and there's all kinds of engine damage, and she's got to take it to a mechanic and get the water pumped out and get the fuel pump replaced and have all the lines drained and have the engine block cleaned out, and because everything it just completely ruined her car because they put water in the gas tank. And people are just, their advice and their nuggets of wisdom down in the comment section are, stop bitching about it. Just push your car. Just, cut a hole in the floor and drive around like Fred Flintstone with your feet hanging out the bottom. You can you can just do, Fred Flintstone and his family did it. All the kids even had to chip in to get down to the Dino Burger diner and to the movie theater. How do you think Fred Flintstone got around? He didn't have gasoline in his car. Stop bitching about it, asshole. Stop bitching about it. Who gives a fuck that the gas station didn't give you gas when you paid for the gas? And I'm like, that's exactly what it's like. I'm listening to a bunch of people telling me to shut the fuck up and just deal with the fact that I don't have hot water. How many of you fucking dirtbags in the troll section would put up with it if you were paying rent to a landlord month after month and he refused to fix the hot water? You would do one of three things. You would force him to fix it by threats or legal action. Number two, you would pay somebody to come fix it and take the money out of the rent. Or number three, you would move out and find a new place to live. But would you sit there and just suck it up and deal with the fact you don't have hot? None of you would. None of you would. You would do something about it. And just because I'm sitting here bitching about it, you all act as if I'm not doing anything about it. I gave the guy until the first week of April to fix it. That's all of February, all of March. Now we're into April, and he threatened me, decided to raise the rent while I don't have hot water, and did a bunch of other shady things. And then I found out that the guy's a career criminal on top of that. And I immediately started looking for a new place. I went on a tour of a new place to live 2 days after he threatened me. And that place is still available. Nobody's moved into it. And that I can understand why. There's a reason I didn't take it right off the bat. And I said, this is good, and it is an upgrade, and it is better. And it's a quiet neighborhood. It's on a quiet street. I'm like, there were a lot of good things going for it. It's a brand new construction. It's got a mini split system for AC and heat. It's way better than where I'm living right now. It's an upgrade. But is it, it's for the money. I'm like, even for the money, it's not horrible. But between having to pay the rent and the electric bill, I'm really not that far off between that and the place I'm going to look at today, which seems a much better deal. So, all I'm saying is, I felt like don't take the first thing you find, but keep it in your pocket. If it turned out like the middle of April that I felt like I absolutely have to do this, I would have done whatever I had to do to make it work. But I got a little bit of breathing room, and I wanted to look at more places. And now I've got a tool in my pocket. I found an FCC website. Somebody sent it to me that allows you to search by address, and it will tell you who the internet providers are available at that address. So then I can do my research before I'm not going to waste another 70-mile bicycle ride to go find a place that I like and then come home to find out I can't get internet there. The place that I rode to out in Conroe, the place last Tuesday, these two beautiful cabins out in the woods. When I told people at work who the internet provider was, one of the people at work said, "Oh, I used to have them. They used to be my internet provider and they suck." And they suck. She's like, it would go down all the time. It wasn't fast enough. It was expensive. All the suspicions that I had were verified. That's why I can't move there, because I need reliable internet. I already know that the place, I don't have to look it up, and I can walk there today. Let me see what time it is. Okay, we're good. I can walk over there today and I'm not wasting a 70-mile bike ride to go find out this place sucks. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking 15 minutes there and 15 minutes back, maybe. I don't even need to use the GPS to find the place. I know how to get there. It's that close. I know where it is. I rode right past it one day, and I remember riding my bike through that neighborhood because this was the first time I saw what was behind my house where I live right now. You know, you've got this main road that's loud and obnoxious and unbearable, the noise, and I'm like, who would want to live in this fucking dump of a neighborhood? Plus, you know, when you go to the stores around here, I'm telling you, they're about 1 year away from going to the grocery store and everything in the grocery store being locked up in a glass cabinet, and you've got to get a grocery store employee to come unlock the cabinet just to get a bag of chips. And the fucking Kool-Aid packets are going to be locked in a vault, like a bank vault, and the employee's going to have to come put in the combination, turn the big giant dial, and open the 7,000-pound door. Good thing I don't like Kool-Aid, because the Kool-Aid packets, that would be like half an hour just to have the employee get 10 packets for you. I'm just saying, these stores in this neighborhood would lead you to believe you live smack dab in the middle of the fucking ghetto. And but the houses behind me, in the neighborhood behind me, I'm like, where the fuck am I? This is a whole different world back here. 1 block away. I rode my bike down. I made a turn that turned into the neighborhood behind where I'm living, and I'm looking at I'm like, man, this is a beautiful neighborhood. There's nice houses everywhere. It's quiet back here. How the fuck does this doesn't match up with this 3 blocks away? And that's where I'm going right now to go look at a place to live. And I'm like, I could probably handle it. But it is a garage. It is a 2-story garage, so the landlord's going to live right next door in the house. Is that guy an asshole? I don't know. That could be a problem. I would like to live in a place where the landlord is nowhere to be found unless something needs to be fixed, to be honest. I don't want to have to walk home and be like, "Hi, Mr. Landlord. How you doing, Mr. Landlord? See you later, Mr. Landlord." You know, every time I fucking turn around, the landlord's right there. I can't sit outside on the porch in front of the house or whatever because the landlord's going to be right there. You know what I mean? I don't want to see the fucking landlord every day. But there's always going to be pros and cons. Those two places I looked at out in the country, I would never see the landlord. I would show up, I would sign the lease, I would pay the down payment, however that happens, and I'm never going to see that dude again unless something breaks. And even if something breaks, it might not be him coming to fix it. I might never see that guy face to face again. I knew this. I knew this when I moved in there, or when I went and looked at the place and talked to him. I'm like, this guy don't live anywhere around here, and you're never going to see him again after you take the keys. And that was a positive. But the negative was no internet. If it wasn't for the fact that there was no internet, I would already be working on trying to move there right now. I would have already said yes to it. But the internet killed the deal, or the lack thereof. So I have to find something where I can get good internet. And there's never going to be something that is perfect. That's the point. Perfect is the enemy of done, especially in this situation. So I just have to find, the right set of pros and cons and take it. Try to find a 1-year lease situation where I sign a lease and it's good for a year. I know that I cannot be forced out because someone changes. Like, I move into this garage apartment, and if he wants to do month to month, that's dangerous for me because he could be like, you know what? I just want my garage back. I want to turn it into a man cave because I'm sick and tired of my wife and I need to be able to get away from her, and I'm going to turn this into my man cave and my man apartment so that if I need to, I'll let the wife have run over the house, but I want the garage to be my man space. I'm going to put some pool tables in here, some big couches. I'm going to put a little bit of a lounge upstairs. Maybe make it a little apartment so I can bring my mistress over when she's not looking, and that could be a reason. So you're gonna have to pack up and move out at the end of the month. Sorry, dude. That could happen if I'm on a month to month lease, and I don't want to do so. That's a thing. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see how it goes, and I'm just gonna. But all these people that left the comments about just suck it up and deal with it, you fucking ungrateful piece of shit. You ungrateful piece of shit. You're so ungrateful that you don't have hot water, that you're paying a landlord to provide for you. How dare you? How dare you demand that the landlord provide the things that you're paying for? Yeah, that's like going to the grocery store and what if you go to the grocery store and the cashier takes everything out of your cart, puts it all back on the shelves, and then tells you that'll be $297.43, sir? Where the fuck are the groceries that I just paid for? We put those back on the shelf. You owe us the money just for bringing the groceries to the cart, but you're going to your car with an empty cart. Would you have a problem with that? Would you have a problem if you went to the fucking grocery store, bought $300 worth of groceries, which would be what? A couple of that would be like 4 bags of groceries in the Joe Biden economy that we're still trying to claw out of, and the Trump's tariff economy. Anything they can do to fucking make everything too expensive. But if you bought $300 worth of groceries and the grocery store took them out of the cart and put them back on the shelf and told you to pay the bill, would you pay the bill? Or would you say, no, put the groceries back in my cart, motherfucker? I'm not paying to go home with an empty cart. So would you pay to have no running water or no hot shower in your fucking apartment when the landlord's supposed to be the one that fixes that and provides it? Would you fight that? Would you be upset about that? Would you put the motherfucker on blast for not doing his job? Yes, you would. None of you, not one of you motherfuckers who left those comments would tolerate the situation if you were in this situation. If it was a situation where you don't have hot water because you bought a dumpy house, a fixer-upper, and you still haven't fixed the water heater, or you haven't done the plumbing, or you haven't fixed the problems with the place because you're too broke or whatever, then that's on you. And yeah, that would still suck. But now you've got to be creative and come up with different ways to deal with the situation. For me, dealing with the situation was put the motherfucker on blast, go look for a new place to live. And the third option, which I didn't use, like I said, I could have made one phone call, had a plumber come over, did it. And the reason why is because I didn't have the money. I didn't know how much that would cost, number one. And that was going to make my situation worse with the landlord than it already is. Even though, go ahead, take me to court for doing that. Because I would win. I will, if he decides for any reason whatsoever to take me into a courtroom, he's going to walk out owing me money. That's 100% for sure. If he initiated something like that, I have protection. I have a lawyer that can help with it. And at the end of the day, he's going to owe me money. He's gonna spend money to take me to court, and he's gonna get his ass kicked and end up owing me money instead of the other way around. He's not gonna win. And he knows this. I think he's trying to strong arm and bully me around. But he knows that when push comes to shove, I'm holding all the cards in my deck. So, it's like he's at the blackjack table and I'm the dealer. You're not going to win. Vegas wasn't built by winners. So, that's all I'm saying. I'm going to let you all go. I got to get ready. I got to finish my coffee, chillax for a minute. The nice thing about it is I don't really have to start getting ready until about half an hour before I got to leave. I'll send the dude a text message, hey, I'm on my way. And it's all good. But if this works out today, there's a chance that I might try to finalize it today, at least put enough money in the guy's hands to hold it until May 1st, June 1st. So we'll see what happens. Later, everybody. Peace out.